Welcome to our tutorial about debugging. I have a pretty simple application here. We enter an integer in the first text box, an integer in the second text box, and the result of my addition calculation appears in the third text box. First, let's set a breakpoint. If we've got a very long application and we set up a lot of breakpoints, I can always right-click and select Disable Breakpoints. The reason for this is that when you've got a lot of breakpoints, it might be difficult to keep track of them if you simply remove them. A couple general words about debugging web applications. These days, debugging web applications looks a lot like debugging a desktop application. Unlike the old days, which actually wasn't all that long ago, when you had to search through hundreds or thousands of lines of code to try and find a glitch, and to try and find out why it occurred for some clients and not for others. Today, it's much easier to debug your web applications. Let's get back to our application. We've set a breakpoint, and now we'll run the application. Okay, I'm going to enter values 1 and 2 and click Result. The execution of code stopped at this point. Now when I mouse over my variable at this point, we see that the variable stores the value 0. Same thing when I mouse over the text property of the text box. I also see the visualizer and a small magnifying glass. I can select the text visualizer or an XML or HTML visualizer. Below are the Auto and Watch windows. If you don't see either of these windows, go to the Debug menu and choose Windows. Here are Autos and Watch windows. Here's the Debug Toolbar. If you don't see it, right-click in this area and select it from the menu. Here we've got 3 buttons: Step Into, Step Over, and Step Out. Let's select Step Into. And the cursor moved. Now when I mouse over a variable a, it becomes initialized with the value 1. You also saw that in the Autos window, next to integer a, in the Value column, the value 1 appears and it's in a red color. This means that in the last step, something about this variable changed. If I want to keep an eye on a specific variable, let's say integer c, I can highlight and then drop it into the Watch window. Right now, you see both integers b and c storing a 0 value. Let's make another step, Step Into. Now integer b is initialized with a value of 2. The same thing happens in the Auto window. Actually, we do have quite a bit of information here. Let's expand the plus sign next to the Text 1 text box. I've got the ability to monitor a lot of different parameters regarding this particular control. Later on, when you've got more experience, you'll find that it's very helpful to monitor web applications virtually as a regular desktop application. Another window we can incorporate is the Locals window. Here's the object me. It refers to the current class _default. Here we can monitor properties and methods, child objects, and so on. Another object we see here is the sender object. It's right here. It's a button in our case. Let's expand this window. And as you see, you can expand the property of this object in quite a bit of detail. Okay, let's keep running our application. We finish the debugging process and get our result. If you're interested in more information about debugging, please see our chapters on debugging desktop applications in Volume 1 of this course. As I'd mentioned, the process is virtually identical. And this concludes our tutorial about debugging your web application.